Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Real Happy Hour podcast. Today is a very special episode of the recording. Today we have special guests, and these guests are from the new movie Ireke, The Rise of the Maroons, written and directed by Peter Gbolahon Macjob and starring Alex Franklyn and Demetri Turin. And they're here with us. Hello, guys. How are you?
Greetings.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
So, how are you guys? How are you guys feeling? Just in general, how are you guys?
With regard to the movie or in life?
In life, let's start from in life.
Oh, okay, in life. Oh no, yeah, life is good. You know, I'm happily married. Got two lovely kids. Met these two people who become become very good friends with me. Life is, one could always do with one more money. Peter. Yes.
Preach.
Yes. But life is also what you make of it, and I always say we're victims of our own choices.
Nice.
Whatever we've been through, we still make a choice, don't we? So,
Nice.
Yeah. All philosophical, Master.
Sorry about that. Yeah, that happens.
No, that's perfect. We love that. We love wisdom. We love that. Alex, how are you?
I'm not so bad, thank you. Just super busy with day job and with my books, and so excited. Looking forward to next week. Can't believe it's come around so quickly. Yeah, I'm good. I'm busy, but good busy, which is a really good positive thing. So yeah, still alive, still kicking.
Yeah, we love that. Nice. Thank you very much. And Gbolahon, Peter, how are you doing?
I'm good. Life is great. Mad busy, but I feel like it's a good busy. Just transitioning from regular 9 to 5 job as a journalist, where I go to work, I try and do incredible stories, try and write creatively, try and use nice tons of phrases, and try and speak smart, and then go home to literally living, breathing Ireke well over a year now, where it's dominated my thoughts, it's shaped my life, and it's almost like it's never ending. When is it going to end type thing?
I think that's one of the things with being a creative. Like, you just have a lot of thoughts in your head, and sometimes that spark comes in, and until you sort of are able to express that, it just sort of lingers in there.
It is
Peter
lingering.
Gbolahon, you're not just the writer and director; you're an Emmy-nominated journalist. You're a documentarian, and this is your debut film. Am I right?
Yes, it's my first time.
So can you please tell us the journey of Ireke? I know you already mentioned that you had that in your mind for about a year now. So how the journey of writing Ireke, and then let's start from there.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you how it started. Because documentary is what I have been able to establish myself within the organization, because there's a lot of us, a lot of journalists working for that organization, i.e. the BBC. So you really have to find your voice. Okay, otherwise you're just going to be there, turning up and going home. And I just felt like I wanted to tell African stories. So most of my documentaries have been heavily Nigerian content. I did a story about twin towns, we call it, a community where twins are deified in Igbora, while 1 in every 6 person is a twin. And just up north, being a twin is a death sentence. So it was like, oh wow, I need to go make this story, but this was Boko Haram territory. So I kind of carved that niche. Like, I want to be the Louis Theroux from Temu. So that was my thing. And it was while I was questing for another thing. So I'd seen this documentary by Clive Murray, one of BBC's leading journalists, a Caribbean experience or something, Journey to the Caribbean. So immediately I have my notes and I want to do a version, Journey to Africa. So straight away I'm thinking I'm going to go to Uganda, I'm going to go to Kenya, I'll go to Somalia, all those kind of stuff I'm already thinking. And just along the line while I was watching, it had this visit to this community called the Maroons. And they were like removed from the mainstream Jamaican society. And he said something about how they fought the British to a standstill. to the point that they came to a truce. So I'm like, really? That happened. So of course I Google, and then I just got immersed into their stories, their origin to, Eastern Nigeria, to Ghana, to parts of Yoruba land, and the rest is history. My imagination just went haywire. And I went from wanting to make a documentary to thinking that there's so much layers here. Where do you even start? And because I've always been watching Nollywood from the outside, I just thought this might be the time to go make this film. And you know the way they say it, once you're ready, the universe sends people your way. And that's
How you
how
met Demetri
these
and
people
Alex.
came into the fray.
So
Yeah.
Demetri, how and Alex can both join in. How did you both come across the story of Ireke? What was that journey?
Oh, well, I mean, I was recommended by. So I did a film for. I've done a few things for Nollywood, and I did a film for Ireke Amata, and Evelyn, who's a producer for that, introduced me to Peter and Toyin. God, jeez, Peter and Toyin, and I was sent the script, and I loved the flies, evil creatures.
You're going to get
I was introduced to these two, read the script, liked the script a lot, liked the character that I was playing, even though he's a nasty. It was the way Peter wrote it. He wrote it in a way that I could play with it a little, so I could add layers to the. You could be one-dimensional character, but I wanted to add a few layers, so sometimes you could see a little bit of emotion in him as well. But I thought that the script was brilliant, and that's what attracted me to it, and that's why I met them in Victoria Station, and that's why I ended up in Nigeria.
Nice.
Your favorite city, by the way, Abeokuta.
Abeokuta. It took me a while to get the name right, didn't it? If I remember rightly. But yeah, it's been I've done a lot of things. I've travelled the whole of Europe on a motorbike. Cause I used to be a chef as well, so I've travelled around a lot. As has Alex, funny enough. But Abeokuta was, Nigeria was the most extreme I've been to, simply because the nature of the country. I'm a white person. I'm out there. People are going, "Hey, you're white," and I'm going, "Oh yeah." So in some ways, it kind of told us, over here when we used to have that awful thing in the 70s where no blacks, no Irish, no dogs allowed in, which was awful. And my wife's Irish, so it was an interesting mirror effect for me. I'm going, oh, that's how they fucking felt. Excuse my language, But Nigeria was brilliant. I loved it. I loved the Illumi Rock. I loved the people. I loved the food.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask if you went to Illumi Rock.
I dragged him to Illumi Rock.
So much history in that landmark. So, Alex, how was your experience in terms of finding the movie and your journey towards just seeing this movie and also your character?
Well, for me, I've done quite a few films with Nollywood in the past. This is I'm pleased to say, second film that I've had that's premiered at Cannes. And I'd worked in a few projects before with Toyin, and I hadn't spoken to her for ages. And and I remember the bizarre thing was, I remember saying out loud, I'd really love to be able to get back into doing films. And I was scrolling through TikTok, and the next thing that came up was Toyin, and I thought, I didn't know you were on here. I'm going like, hello. It just kind of started to reignite a conversation and friendship that we hadn't spoken for a while. And it was bizarre because she'd had the scripts given to her not long before. I said, you would be really good. You would be excellent for this part. Would you like to come to Nigeria? And I was going like, yes. Please send me the script. She said, please do bear in mind that she's not a very nice character. So I remember reading the script and thinking like, ooh, really not a nice character. And my family is my family is a blended family. Long story, but suffice to say that my adoptive mom is Black West Indian from Jamaica, and so I was kind of talking to my brother's also mixed heritage. I think these are the lines which they want me to say. What are your thoughts? At which point it was kind of like, and went away, and they kind of spoke for a while, and just kind of like, you're waiting, you're just thinking like, I wonder what they're going to say. And the response was that these are the kinds of things which we definitely know from their family members, from their blood heritage, have happened. It's not something that is new to them. It's something which is events which have occurred, unfortunately, should never have. And they felt that they wanted me to be able to play that role to the best of my ability, because they said they have come across white women who are like that, and it's just very often not very well represented. It's often represented in a much more digestible form, and so it was quite important, I think, to be able to portray her in the way that has been experienced by people. And it was extremely uncomfortable to do, but it's trying to emulate people whom you know are like that, to try and give us an honest and as truthful account as possible for events that have occurred. And
I think you both
it's
did
especially important.
amazing work, because I mean, I've seen the movie, but I swear it doesn't even look like you were the one. It feels like it's a different person that was in that. It just feels far
Thank you.
removed.
You have no idea how good that feels to hear that.
Like it's
Yeah,
really wild.
I have to second that, Ola, because Alex and Lady Catherine are two different people. Because Lady Catherine is quite, she's a handful, whereas Alex is just really simple and easygoing, and as long as she has a cigarette, it's all good.
Yeah,
Simple.
very
He said
much about that.
simple. Simple.
So you both played that really, really well. Like it's really, really good.
Thank you.
Welcome, Mofe Duncan. Thank you very much for taking the time to join us.
Oh, hey guys, thanks. I was like a
So good to
minute.
see you.
I was like a minute late. Apparently, it wasn't logging on my laptop because my camera wasn't working, so I had to switch to my iPad. And yeah,
Tech.
glad
That's
to
what.
be here.
Every
Hey
time you
Alex,
need to use
hey
it.
Demetri.
Hey up. Hello, buddy.
Good director. Good to see you.
You too.
I was teasing you guys in the group already.
I was surprised that Demetri is not bothered by you joining us here. I was expecting like.
Well, I'm going on the fact that he's a chef as well. So.
Yes, fair.
So, Mofe, thank you very much for joining us. I was just doing like a round table question about how the story of the script Ireke came to, how you met Ireke, and I'd like to know more about how you found the script.
Oh, great. So I got approached by Toymo. I call her the mayor of London. When I moved to London in 2015, Auntie Toyin, as we used to call her then, was very, very much involved with my growth as an actor in London, and basically helped me out a lot. So she approached me and told me that director was about to do this project, and they wanted me on as a casting director, and maybe like a first AD and all of that. And I read the script and I said, I'm putting myself in this. I'm putting myself in this. No way. So I was very grateful that director took some of my suggestions. Actually, I strong armed him. I said, no, I must be inside. Must be inside this project. But obviously, because I was too filled out to be a slave because of my more than large middle, he made me a chef, and it was great. Absolutely brilliant. It was brilliant. It was a brilliant experience to work with everyone. And I also must second the notion that, Alex and Demetri, their characters and their personalities are like completely polar opposites. It's almost unnerving to film with Demetri and then have to go and sit with him at the bar and gist. I'm like, I'm not playing with you. You're nasty, bro. So it was a good dynamic. So it was so much fun. The project was good.
Yeah. I mean, it's a shame that Toyi is not here with us, because she literally put everyone together, and I think that was already the start of our success. So when she told me that she was going to bring Mofe Duncan, so first of all, I'm a huge fan of Mofe Duncan's work. Do you know what I mean? So to actually be able to cast Mofe Duncan I really enjoyed that process. Because for a long time you watch people on tape, you watch them on telly, you watch them on Netflix, And I think, Mofe, you had just completed this series done about the North, where you played governor and all of that. So I didn't watch that. So when she said, "Oh, I know him," I was just thinking maybe she was dropping names. Until when we had the meeting, when Mofe actually joined us. And like you said, he was going to come in to support with the directing since it was my debut. She just said to me, "We need somebody who knows what they're doing. And you can literally just shadow until you get comfortable." So when she then said Mofe wants to be in the film, and they were making suggestions about him being one of the chiefs, and one of that, I was like, Mofe Duncan, no, we have to write a new role for him. Like, we're not just going to throw Mofe Duncan in the film. 100%. Hence where Okiki came up, the chef.
Nice.
You spat in my food.
The casting was, I was just going to say that the casting was really phenomenal, and everyone played their parts beautifully. And I think it's also really interesting seeing how you were able to capture or show different stories between a short period of time in that film. There were so many stories in there, and I think you have to give credit to the amazing actors that were able to sort of show that part of your story. And even the actual title of Rise of the Maroons, like, thank you for this film, because that was when I actually went to do my research about the Maroons, and I found that there was the whole sort of revolt against that period of time. And it's interesting how, like, from almost the first scene with Mofe, or maybe the fourth or fifth scene where Mofe is on screen, or even from the actual beginning where they capture the Africans and they bring them over, there was that spirit of revolt. And in Mofe, you're exacting your way of showing your revolts was sort of spitting in the food and just saying, and it was just those slow little touches of subtle hints of revolt followed through the whole movie. So,
You're absolutely correct. And I'm one of those actors that I don't consider any role to be small. Once I'm given a role, I feel like for the 20 seconds I'm going to be on screen, I want the fans to remember that. And it was the whole storyline itself. Being part of the story, being on set, you can just place yourselves in the minds of those slaves and what they went through. And of course, Alex and Demetri, their interpretation was ridiculous. Like, they made you want to get angry. They made you want to feel sorry for the slaves. They made you want to, they made you, like, the emotion, watching them display themselves, and just imagine that if this person was here, this guy is not going to have this porridge alone. Or he must collect speeds. He must collect something. Because, they kind of brought that out of me. And I just kind of placed myself in that emotion. So, I mean, I appreciate the fact that it came out well. And I feel like it was a hard watch. It was a hard watch, even just watching what was happening. It was a hard watch.
Sorry, Mofe, I mean, this is not my show, but forgive me, Ola, because I'm used to asking questions. I was going to say, Mofe, I don't think you've actually done any violent scene before in your career.
I haven't, actually. I haven't been that violent where it's like, I'm completely turning someone's head to macaroni and cheese. But I've had villain roles, but I've never had to display that much rage or that much violence whereby it's excessive. And I feel like, I mean, you've watched it. I don't think that anybody in the hall then would not justify the fact that, Wesley deserved it. And even till now,
I feel like people will be angry with him. Like, he's one of the ones that character may just live through for a long period of time.
He's gonna be like Carlton from Fresh Prince.
Yeah, because he played it a bit too well. It's actually crazy.
Yeah.
And I think this is such a different story, and I wonder how, like, making this film, Peter, like, were there any obstacles that you faced? Because this is very different, even in terms of Nollywood or just film.
1,000%. Thanks a lot for that question. First, there was the challenge from me, thinking, do I really want to write this way? Do I want to say stuff like cock? But I live in England. I live in Manchester. People have called me stuff. People have spoken next to me. I've made snide comments. So I'm used to hearing people speak that way. And I thought to myself, what do I bring into Nollywood? I'm coming to an industry that's already thriving, where people are selling 1 billion naira worth of box office. where people are collecting national honors. They've done it, they've been there, they won the t-shirt. If I'm going to come into this industry, what do I bring? And like you introduced earlier, if I'm a Emmy-nominated journalist, I need to bring my journalism into this, which is the storytelling, a strong opening, some context, and then let's push the envelope. So when I started writing, there were parts of me that was thinking, Niger audience, and I started to struggle. But then I just decided, let me stay true to self and see where this takes us. And when I started to look for partnership, the people that I thought I knew within the industry, in terms of distributors and all of that, and big studios were not keen. So that's when I knew there was a bit of a challenge going on. But once the actors came on board and you had people showing some excitement, then I felt some encouragement, So, yeah, there is some bit of concern as to how this film was going to be taken. And as one Nigerian to the other, how we get all virtue signaling is a big issue where people feel like, ooh, too much swearing, ooh, too much nudity, ooh, too much this and too much that. But again, I just felt, let's just do what we're here to do. I mean, why are we here? We said we want to push the envelope. Let's just do it and see where we go from there and figure it out as we go along.
So, Mofe, I'd ask you too, because this is your Nollywood icon, and this is not something I've ever seen a Nigerian Nollywood film do. I was just curious as to, like, you taking on this film, like, were there things that you were, like, excited about, like, this is so different, Nigeria would take this as an audience, or were you like, this is a challenge, let's educate Nigeria, let's educate, like, the global world?
I think it's a worldwide thing, actually. I think the world needs to know the story of how these guys survived. There's a lot of info and insights into slavery and how all this happened and how Africa has been, robbed of certain things. And I mean, now is the time where it makes sense. I mean, I don't think that this level of the level that this story was depicted might not have been accepted maybe a decade ago or 2 decades ago. So now, because there's so much strength in what's happening, and a lot of white people are also understanding, and history is showing and showcasing what these guys went through and the strength of these guys, I think it's very important that this story be told. Nollywood has definitely transcended the basic storyboarding and storylining of that we have these days. Even you can see it's in the implosion of YouTube. A lot of people are doing most of the stories are love stories. So it was a huge risk, was a huge gamble that Gbolahon took on this challenge. And I think that with everybody that he had involved, from the set design to the actors to the locations, the story itself drove the passion, because I remember when I read it, I'm like, what? how is he gonna do this? How is he gonna pull this off? But it's just amazing to see, like, the trailer and the reports and the response from people. Even being on set, you could see everybody, the costumes, the location, the house we used for Demetri's house, stunning. I mean, to think that thing even existed, So it's I think it's important for Nollywood. This is like a win for Nollywood, which is why I personally, as an actor, said no. I must be in this one, because how can I just not be a cast of this movie? This movie just fly like this and not be a cast. No, I must be a cast.
Which, funny you say that, Mofe, because it's one of the reasons I wanted to be in this as well, was because a lot of the Nollywood, as you were saying, a lot of the Nollywood films were all love stories. So they're basically shipping out quickly, getting made quickly, get them out.
Absolutely.
And this, because I've always wanted, because I've judged competitions and things for Nollywood, and I've always wanted Nollywood to escape that boundary they've created. And I think Peter's film here is a wonderful opportunity.
I think that's one of the things about, like, Nigeria, is that we love escapism a lot, and a lot of our stories now, I thought they're really amazing now, is also not, it doesn't really touch on, like, reality or history. So I'm hoping that your film, Peter, sort of makes other directors sort of want to make films that sort of touch of the history or the current reality of Nigeria?
I think that was already happening, because before we left the set of Ireke, because we had a lot of challenges, we just started seeing people in diapers. You know, a group. You just started seeing Lebanese and expatriates in Nigeria dressed as colonial outfits. People sharing pictures from their set. I was saying to Tony, "Oh my God, we haven't even finished filming. Our film is already going to be shown on YouTube somewhere." You know, even at some point we saw things that looked like our costume, like being rented out to place. It was just really concerning and unnerving. And some big names within the industry are already doing a story about the British invasion of Lagos.
Wow, it
So
just takes one person. That's it.
So it's happening. So for us, we're happy, because the whole idea is, can we push the envelope? So for me as a journalist, when you do news articles, when you do features, they go viral in the global north. All these stories about Nigeria, they are doing the rounds in the global north, but our films get so much disrespect and disregard. And I'm saying the continent that has the most bizarre things is the ones with the most bizarre stories. So if you have a daily occurrence that is incredibly riveting, why are you writing fiction that is limited? You don't need to write no fiction. Just look out. Just look out. You look at our former president, General Sani Abacha, the way he died. That's an incredible story. And I'm thinking to myself, how on earth has anybody not made Abacha's movie? The whole idea that he flew in prostitutes from abroad and somebody like drugged him, all that stuff is fiction. Can we just spice it up and tell amazing stories about our continent than writing fictions that doesn't really challenge anybody's intellect? And
100%.
so this is the direction that I'm trying to go. And I'm hoping that, for sure, there'll be other filmmakers who will think it's time for that. And that's why from the very beginning, the global audience was in my heart. People were saying to me, Nigerians are not ready for this. This story is a bit too hard. People want to laugh. They want to enjoy. At Christmas, they want to have popcorn and laugh. And I'm thinking, no, I don't want to laugh. Let other people make people laugh. I'm not here for laughing.
Exactly.
I'm here for stuff that will make us think and start conversation, and that's it.
I'm gonna quickly touch in. Sorry, I was gonna ask you a question now. Your characters, both of you, Demetri and Alex, they were not one-dimensional. Like, although they were stereotypically playing the archetype of a white person in that period of time, but watching it, the way I experienced your characters, where they were kind of swinging the pendulum of like almost affection and disdain for the people, for the Africans. Like Dimitri, for example, we saw you in one way almost all through the movie, up until that beautiful lady got the experience that she got. And then that's why we're like, oh, okay, despite the fact that you were this way and we saw you this way all through the movie, there was actually a bit of humanity and empathy that you felt. But although you just had that loyalty to your wife, and so you just had to follow through. And even you, Alex, your character, like there was that pendulum of guilt and of power, and also recognizing that there's
competition.
Yes, competition.
Very vulnerable, very vulnerable over this slave girl could be the one that has won the heart of her dearly beloved husband. So it's like she's looking for love and she can't find it. He has no time for her. But the irony, the woman that she suspects is not the suspect. It's not the culprit. Her little lapdog, he's the culprit. That was the whole idea. And so I'm glad that came through because, I was playing with this thought process constantly. And even myself, I was making it up as I carried on. As I was writing it, I was just kind of figuring it out as I was going. So I'm happy that's come through.
Yeah,
sorry, that was for Alex.
Yeah, thank you, because I was struggling to find the words there. So thank you very much, Peter. Yeah,
I
Alex.
was just thinking that it's really interesting the way that it was written, because it was very much marriages of that time period between men and women was about a good match, and were not based on love. They were based upon what family you were in. This is for certainly for the white British at the time. It was not a love marriage. It would be based on whether or not you were of the right class, if you were of the right family, the right income to be able to make a good match. So you were placed together. The woman's purpose was to basically give a child to the husband. That was the duty of the wife. And then once she had done that, then she was just kind of like, whatever use she may have afterwards is up to her. So it's quite interesting that the way it was written, it kind of also gave that. It very much reflected that kind of relationship of the expected social loyalties of that time between a married husband and wife, but there being no real sense of love and emotion towards that, but definitely a sense of ownership between the two out of the um, social expectations of that time period and that sense of honour.
I was just going to add that still goes on in Greek culture, African culture, Indian culture. That still goes on to this day.
True. That the higher up you go, it goes on very much like that. But at least there's more room for a love marriage these days than what it was back then. It's based less on price, though. That's possibly changed a little bit recently, but was much more the fact that women couldn't own property, women couldn't work effectively and be considered honourable. So it's very much that the woman was completely reliant on the male. So also the prospect of the male being off with other women as well had a significant social implications as well. And it was really interesting that there was very much that undertone, was that you could clearly see she wasn't happy being there in any way, shape or form, but had no other choice with that level of anger and resentment that she had.
Interesting. Another thing I picked up from the film was this was the first slave film where the actual captured slaves were speaking English properly, and was the actual African leader who was the native indigenous speaker who wasn't necessarily speaking English as much. We don't really see that. I've never seen that actually, where it just sort of shown that because this African, especially Toby's character, he was captured when he was a kid. So obviously he's not going to have whatever dialect or accent that he had as a little 7, 8 year old boy. He has grown up in a different land with different people. And people like Uncle Tom, his character, who are definitely trying to integrate into that society. So it's obvious that there will definitely be like a change in the accents. Was that an intentional thing that you decided to do?
So if I understand you, the fact that Toby, who is Atonda, the little prince, spoke English.
All of the slaves spoke good English, not just English. They spoke good English.
So in the case of the slaves that spoke up, oh yeah, that's true. Toro spoke. Atlanta, Aduni spoke. Obviously, she's mixed race, so we're expecting her father will have spoken English to her. I'm trying to answer your question now. Toby, Atonda, being brought as a kid. What you watched is half of the film. There's a sequel where we'll go back and forth. And that question came out at some point. Like, how do you learn to speak English? So between Aduni, the house slave, and Atonda, who is in the plantation, and when their path crossed for the first time. And the answer is the fact that he grew up in the palace, and white people did come to their land to do business with the king, and
but the king wasn't speaking English. Like, he looked like someone who didn't necessarily speak English.
Yes. So again, the joy of writing, of fiction, because at the end of the day, Ireke remains a work of fiction inspired by true accounts. So in no form is it a biopic of any form, but all the things that happened historically, like the Maroons, the rebellion, slavery, trade, human trade, transatlantic journey, these are things that happened. And all that together is what's inspired the work of fiction that is Ireke. Even the sacking of Ilewura, that's inspired by the Benin punitive expedition of Britain in 1897. That's where that came from. So the idea that all those artifacts were taken away and put into British Museum is what you saw when they were packing those loot. So if we had enough budget, there will be other things. So, but to answer your question, some of them, sometimes every mistake is a design. Some of them were a situation whereby some of our cast couldn't speak Yoruba, and then we had to kind of improvise going forward. But the thing is, we didn't do anything without consideration of the audience. So we ask ourselves, okay, so why would this happen? And then we try to find an answer. Once we can justify it, we believe that if there's an audience member that's asking those questions, let's give them reasons why they should have an answer for it, which you've just demonstrated now. Hopefully there'll be somebody that will think, well, they picked him up when he was like 4. So of course he will have spoken English, haven't spoken it here, etc., etc.
I also have a theory that what's her name? The Madam Priestess.
Yes.
God, that iconic actress. I can't believe her.
Peter
Yes. I have a theory that she's Adoni's mom. I don't know. That's my theory. She's Adoni's mom. She could sense Adoni was in trouble, and
Well, thank you for that. I'm going to write that down. I'll put that in the sequel somewhere. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Why not, Mofe? Eh?
Speaking of sequel, I'm a director. I already have some ideas for plots. The turn of Okiki and his path on how he became a chef.
Let's not share that here before somebody takes it. Let's keep that. I mean, it's interesting you said that, Mofe, because Mofe was not supposed to beat anybody up or smash anybody up. It was Okiki was not supposed to do anything. Johnson was supposed to escape. I'm sure Demetri, was supposed to escape and be trying to undress in the middle of the forest, trying to blend with the locals. And some random Maroon was supposed to take him out. And Mofe just said to me, respectfully, Mr. Director, I will not teach you. I'm not trying to teach you your job or anything, but please, I think it's going to be a better arrangement if somebody smashes. I will not use the French language that you use. And he just said, let me do this. Rewrite this script such that somebody does it right here. It will be very satisfying. Trust me. And I just said, hey, who am I to argue? If you think it's going to work, let's do it that way, and no regrets. So I'm so grateful that we made that adjustment.
Yeah,
it was a lasting memory that you created there, because I don't think you could forget bits of this movie, but you will not forget that scene. There's so many scenes like that. You will not forget Alex's character pounding yam. That's also not
it's hard work.
She did a great job too. As in that pounded yam is quite edible.
I was like, is she actually the one pounding it? Because she's doing this a little too well.
If it wasn't props, all you needed was a 4-euro and you're good to
go. All I can say is that there is no need to go to the gym at all for doing that kind of work. Absolutely not. Just like your arms kill you afterwards. I'm genuinely kind of wow.
Amazing. So we're going to kind of rounding up this conversation. Are there any bits or things that you'd like to share, perhaps about your character, perhaps about the story, how it has affected you?
Oh, crikey. I mean, I never heard of the Maroons before Peter brought it forward. Obviously, living in England, I'm conscious of the history over here and over the world. I'm also half Greek and half Greek Cypriot, and half my country has been occupied, by the Turkish. I'm very proud to be a part of this, Peter. Met lovely people like Mofe. Had a great time drinking in the hotel with him. And it's good to be a part of something that hopefully is going to change, Nollywood, for the better. I mean, it's great anyway, but to put it on the world stage, it needs to tell other stories. Same with Greek cinema. Greek cinema is very similar in love story. Obviously Bollywood, it's all dancing and everything. This is my dancing. It was an experience, and I'm very proud to be a part of it.
Well, you forgot to mention the of Father Rice, the Wagonyi. because we checked out of the hotel and I took him to all the places in Abeokuta where we had agege bread and ewa going on the yam boli.
Oh,
He had
no.
boli.
Oh, no.
The only thing he didn't have,
That's good,
was
Franklyn.
Agbo Jedi was the only one that spared it.
But he tried
Wow,
to-
you really were like, you're going to experience everything.
Yeah. I took him everywhere. Took him home. Took him to my mom.
Met mum,
My
yeah.
mom,
I met mum.
Yeah, he met my mother.
I
I
did.
showed him the entire Abeokuta, and
Yeah.
we went to Olumo Rock. He drank pounded he drank palm wine. But
Oh, what? It's palm wine, wasn't it?
Yes,
Yeah.
palm wine.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
my favorite part, when you finish eating agege bread and
Yeah.
dates, he got the last bread and scooped the entire plate like that.
Wow.
It was joy.
You're one of us. You're Nigerian.
So he's one of us. That's Oluwa Demetri to you.
Yeah. I just want
Let's
to say,
go back.
I mean, Alex, you go first.
No, it's okay. Go first.
No,
if you want.
ladies first.
Don't fight,
I was
guys.
about to say
Don't
you could
fight.
still go first. but
You
I'm
smoothie,
joking,
you
I'm joking.
big.
Sorry, on set with these guys was just wonderful because the time just passed so freely. Mofe was brilliant. I got some videos of him keeping us entertained with doing magic tricks, which was like we all spent like, how did he do it? And that sort of it was just really lovely to meet so many people. Toby being funny as anything on set, and Atlanta, who's just beautiful. She's just so stunning. She's lovely.
So sweet.
Absolutely. Just think about all the people who aren't here, and Westy, who's just hilarious. It's just it just genuinely really nice feeling on set that we're all kind of like getting along so well with each other, and we're very much focused on trying to do as best a job as we can for the film. And it was just a really genuinely lovely experience. And I had a lovely experience of going to Nigeria. And it was palm wine was a bizarre experience because I had it in my head that it would taste like a spirit. And so you were kind of having it in the gourd, the half dried gourd, and sipping it, and it kind of looks like really watered down milk. And you're kind of taking a sip, and you thought, to my taste buds, Dimitri, to my taste buds, it tasted like cider.
Yeah.
It tasted like cider to me. I was just like, I was not
It's
anticipating
Because
that.
it's probably a similar process. It's fermented. I don't know what's fermented.
Don't tell me.
I was looking at Peter like you probably know, but
It was just really lovely experience and going up the rock at Abeokuta and just seeing this amazing panoramic view. And I have been known to have a bit of a slight issue with heights. I adapt over time. But seeing this amazing view around you, and then you kind of see somebody pop up from the side of the rock because I just literally have no fear of heights at all. People are so used to climbing it. I'm just kind of going, ah, how do you do that? But it's beautiful views. And everybody just being really nice and kind and helpful on set. I mean, all of the crew and all of the people who were there. I'd love to be able to mention everyone's names, but we'd be here for another half an hour. So I'm just really grateful to have been a part of it, to be quite honest. And I'm really excited about the movie coming out. And just really hoping that everybody, regardless of their heritage, goes and sees it, because I think it's something that would help people who are non-black understand a bit more about a truer version of history, if that makes sense, and help give people a bit more of an understanding rather than just pictures or a more cozy storytelling view of it, which I think has happened in the past. And it's just, but for me, I find it just really enjoyable to be on set and be a part of everything. So thank you so much, Peter and Demetri and Mofe and Toyin and everybody else who puts up with me, basically.
Very true. I mean, it said it all, and I had the opportunity to be cast member, and I was also on the team for the crew members, and it's such a disparity what we're experiencing on stage and off stage, in terms of the roles that everybody had to play, the hatred we had for literally ourselves, except for the dynamics that you had, and then we go back to the hotel and everybody was like, having such a good time. So it was such a good blend, and it was difficult to look at Demetri on set or talk to him on set and look at him with scorn, because he is just adorable. And Alex, so for me, it's great. And one thing I must say is that Ireke, as a film in its entirety, has pockets of stories that can touch literally every and anybody, and you can relate to it. There's a dynamics between Alex and her husband and the slaves, and each slave and that general and this other slave, and there's a pocket of stories you can follow. And there's so many heroes in the story, and there's so many villains in the story. So I think it's going to be a good ride, and I can't wait to watch it. I can't.
The hardest bit, I was going to say, the hardest bit for me, Peter, I was speaking to Peter and Ola, is I'm in your country. I'm then on the set with all my lovely black extras, and I'm about to say, and I'm looking at them, and I'm saying, I'm about to call you a really foul name, and I'm like, oh my god.
That was.
You know the line. You know the line. And
I think that's something I should have alluded to earlier on as well, because I think at some point Alex was concerned the level of the vulgarity. Like, who is this guy? So at some point, I'm beginning to think, Jesus Christ, what's wrong? What's wrong with me?
No. It wasn't the vulgarity. It was just there was a couple of lines which I think you see quite early on in the church scene. Waiting to meet Demetri and having to deliver those lines. Those ones were definitely the most uncomfortable, and I just thought, I want to speak them to get them out of my brain so I can erase it.
Exactly.
Because I thought because those phrases those words have never actually left my mouth.
Come out of your mouth.
Particular phrases.
Well, even the writing, there were a lot of stuff that I wanted to put there, and then Toyi was like, well, this actress will only go this far, and even even the rape scenes. The lady, Genevieve, her sister had then come to me and said, we're concerned, because of her brand, blah, blah, because you have to really put in people's emotions into this. And people will say yes very early on. And then when it's time to deliver, they might have their they might have their concerns. And so one thing for this production is we wanted to be really sensitive about safeguarding people's well-being, people's welfare. And I remember even addressing the crew members, because you have a lot of young people trying to get into film, and we all know about sexual harassment and all of that stuff. And I remember saying to them, this set is not one of those places, where you're going to abuse your small soft power to harass people. So I've told those who got people together, like, be on the alert. If anybody makes any complaint or any inappropriateness, there's going to be a problem. So that that's already out there. So when she said, my sister is a bit worried about skin, because the rape scene, we're supposed to see bits, and then they were like, no, she's not really comfortable. And then it's like, well, how comfortable are you? How far can we go? Can we see legs? If we're not going to see bare back, can we see legs? Can we see thigh? Yes. How far can we go? This big. Are you happy here? Yes. And then I just spoke to the crew. This is how we're going to go. This is as far she's willing to reveal, just so she doesn't leave her set feeling traumatized, So I was really concerned about people's well-being in the course of shooting this movie. So I'm really pleased with that. So I'll use the opportunity to give my own reaction. I'm just really pleased that we've been able to finish this project. And I feel like one of the things that has helped is the start. Because when we started, the momentum was so strong. And having Mofe on set very early on, he brought that star power. I remember when he came down from the train station, there was some commotion in Abeokuta. People were taking pictures. It was bizarre. And then the hotel where I had been staying as a crew member, because, I have this very grumpy facial expression. So they'd already known me for being grumpy and going back and forth. So then when Mofe turned up to the set, then they realized, like, ooh, it looks like I have a pulling power, and then they started to respect me a bit more, because then Toby came, then Nino came, you know. And of course, when Demetri and Alex came, then they started, oh, director, sir. So I'm like, okay, thank you. So it was a great start for somebody who was new to the industry. It was a great start for me. And so when things became really difficult, because the momentum that we started, the initial was quite strong, it helped the momentum going. The problems were not enough to shut it down because it started so well. You know, it started so well. It was almost too good to be true. But when the hiccups stepped in and it slowed it down, the big start helped to go through. And I have to use this opportunity to thank Demetri and Alex for being incredibly professional, you know, because when all the challenges were happening, it was just literally the three of us. Most of the other actors had done their bit and they'd gone. And it was
I do have a complaint.
Not now, no.
No, I do have a complaint. I have a complaint.
No, we'll have that later. After
this guy, Peter said, do you remember that video you sent me over here going, this is the house which is going to be yours and Alex's house, and this is the tree. We're going to hang you. So Ola, be conscious of the fact that the line I just mentioned, coming to your country to be nasty. I get to the airport and these people with guns take our passports off us, and then I'm sat in a cab with a guy with Alex, with a guy with a machine gun. So I'm traveling through your country, going the tree.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Considering what gov.uk said about Nigeria as well, with kidnapping and all of that stuff. But I dare say, at some, I mean, when they were leaving, they went by train. Ola, they went by train. You know, Demetri traveled by train, and Alex she was walking around Abeokuta, going to buy a cigarette from the local shop, walking back to the hotel. So they had a great time in Abeokuta, and I was happy that at least as a Nigerian, let me be part of the narrative to say my country is safe. Okay, none of this nonsense about kidnapping. This place is safe, you know, and ain't nobody kidnapping. Nobody. It's nice and cool. So yeah.
I also want to Mofe likely mentioned, or you've all kind of mentioned, there are so many stories in this film, and you were able to tie them in. You were able to sort of, every story had a close. Like you kind of feel like, okay, this is resolved, and it's just so beautifully done. And I also want to sort of, what are your, not expectations, but like, you guys are on a ride right now, and how does it feel? Like this must feel different, because obviously you've been to Cannes. I know this is not your first time, but you went at the Cannes Festival. Like this feels different, I can assume. Like this must feel different for you guys. How can you just sort of express, like?
Let me start. When we had the press screening on Monday, and you came alongside with other journalists, it's the first time I felt that. Because sometimes you feel like you drink your own Kool-Aid, and you really have to be careful. Because when I look at the competition and I look at what's out there, doing the numbers, I do get concerned. Because Ireke is nothing like these, and these films are doing really, really well. But again, from a point of research, I say to myself, there is a community that we have not yet tapped into. There are people who want to have serious conversation, who want to watch interesting films, who want to be mentally challenged, who want riveting storytelling, who want to bring their children and have these chats. They are out there too. So it's not just the vibing and the love and the celebration and the humor. There are people out there. These are the people I want to go find. But more importantly, the global north. I want Nollywood to make films that anybody can enjoy. But until the press screening, when I saw people's reaction for real, and I read the report, some of the articles, before I started feeling positive about it.
You've been in your own sort of bubble.
I've been in the whole bubble just
popped.
Exactly. So it popped a bit. So fingers crossed is all I can say. Come July 25. But for me, from my soul, I am happy with what I've done. Whatever comes out of it, I'll take it. You see what I mean? But I can only keep my fingers crossed and hope for the best.
I think I can honestly say for everybody, for all the viewers, that this is a spectacular film and everyone needs to go. It premieres on the 25th of July. It's premiering in about 9 cinemas in the UK, and it's in global cinemas. Is it more
13.
than 9?
13 It's the first of its kind as well. Usually, when Nollywood films are played in the UK, it's just the Odeon. This one, we have even the posh cinemas in Regent Street in Oxford Circus showing Ireke. We have Peckemplex. We have View. You know, we have all sorts of rich mix, independent cinemas, mainstream cinemas, Odeon chain, the lot. We have about 30 different locations across the UK.
And on the 25th of July, you guys will be at the premiere at the Odeon.
We're going to be at the... So, well, another first, we're having a worldwide premiere. So while we are doing it in London, it's happening also in Lagos and Abeokuta, where the film was shot, as an ode to that town, because they make the films there, but they never celebrate anything there. They come there, they use the workforce, they use the location, they use the cheap labor, then they go celebrate elsewhere. So I thought, let's have a big celebration for the members of the crew and cast, those who usually don't get to dress up and watch themselves on the big screen or wait for their credit to roll up. This is their moment to enjoy that. So I thought, let's celebrate. If I had my way, I would go to Abeokuta and let Mofe and Demetri run London. But I have to be in London. So
everyone in London can expect to see Demetri, Alex, Peter, Mofe at the premiere on 25th of July.
And Nina Lowo is coming to London to join us. Nino.
We also have to give a shout out to Toby. Toby is that guy. He is who you think he is. He is that guy.
1001%.
Phenomenal in this film. He really, really was a great leading man.
Toby goes hard.
Very emotive, very... And, you know, this is not the beginning point. This is the beginning. Like, it's just amazing. And you all were phenomenal too. Like, great acting. Loved it. Everyone needs to go see this in cinemas on the 25th of July, 2025. Thank you all very much for taking the time. And perhaps we are going to get a sequel of this film at some point.
The sequel coming. We're targeting Christmas for that. It will be a little Christmas present for everyone. So
love it.
Yeah, we'll let the studios call our people so we can get going.
Amazing. Thank you very much.
Thanks,
Ella. Thank you so much for having us.
Thanks, Ola.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.